atmosphere backstage was heavy with anticipation. Every step echoed through the narrow halls of the arena as Crown Jewel approached, one of WWE's biggest nights of the year. For Seth freakin' Rollins, this wasn't just another pay-per-view. It was another chapter in his long, complicated story with Cody Rhodes, a rivalry that had tested him physically, emotionally, and mentally. Rollins had always thrived on confidence. His walk, his words, his laughter, everything about him screamed control. But tonight, something was off. His normally fiery energy was dimmed, replaced with quiet tension. The man who called himself the Visionary was, for once, unsure of what he truly saw ahead. Becky notices the change. Sitting across the locker room, Becky Lynch watched her husband with growing concern. She'd seen Seth before big matches, hyped, loud, unpredictable, but this was different. He wasn't pacing, wasn't shadowboxing, wasn't even speaking. Instead, he sat in silence, his head down, methodically wrapping his wrists. The faint noise of the crowd filtered in from the arena, the familiar hum of excitement, but Seth barely seemed to hear it. Becky's heart tightened. She knew that look. It was the face of a man burdened not by fear of losing, but by fear of meaning less than he once did. After a few moments, she finally broke the silence. "Talk to me, love," she said softly, her Irish accent carrying both tenderness and worry. "You've been quiet all week. What's going on inside that head of yours?" Seth looked up, meeting her eyes with a weary smile. "It's nothing," he muttered. But Becky knew better. The weight of legacy. "Don't do that," Becky pressed gently. "Don't hide behind that smile. I know something's eating you alive. Is it Cody?" Seth sighed, the sound heavy with exhaustion. "It's always Cody, isn't it?" he said with a dry laugh. "Ever since he came back, it's been about him. The golden boy, the prodigal son, the man who finished his story. And me? I'm just the roadblock in his fairy tale." He ran his hand through his hair, frustration creeping into his voice. "Every time I step into that ring with him, I give everything. And somehow, it's never enough. It's like no one remembers that I've been the one holding this place together for years. I've fought every legend there is to fight, rebuilt myself a dozen times, but now it feels like I'm the guy who's just supposed to lose to make his comeback look bigger." Becky's heart broke hearing those words. This wasn't just competition anymore. It was identity. Seth Rollins, one of the most decorated superstars in WWE history, was questioning his purpose. Becky's breaking point. She stood up, her voice trembling slightly as she replied, "You stop that right now. You're Seth freakin' Rollins, the man who redefined what it means to be great in that ring. You've bled for this business, sacrificed everything, even your sanity, to make WWE better. Don't you dare sit there and talk like you're some stepping stone." Her voice cracked and tears welled in her eyes. Becky Lynch, the man, the fearless, fiery warrior who never backs down, was breaking, not out of weakness, but out of love and helplessness. "You know how many nights I've watched you come home broken, barely able to walk and still talking about how you need to do better?" she continued. "You've carried this company through dark times. You've carried yourself through pain most people couldn't imagine, and now you think you're just a shadow in someone else's story? No, Seth. You are the story." Seth looked up, startled by the passion in her words. For the first time all evening, he saw something beyond his doubt, the reflection of himself in her eyes, the version she believed in even when he couldn't. Fear behind, the confidence. He took a deep breath. "It's not that I don't believe in myself," he said quietly. "It's that I'm scared. Scared that all the years of building, fighting, proving, maybe they don't matter anymore. The business changes, fans move on, new stars rise, and I just keep trying to reinvent myself. What if one day I wake up and realize there's nothing left to reinvent? Becky wiped away her tears, her expression softening. That's not fear talking, Seth. That's humanity. Every great one questions themselves before they step into something that could change everything. But you've always come out stronger. You always do. She knelt in front of him, placing a hand on his knee. You're not just fighting Cody tomorrow. You're fighting every doubt that's ever whispered in your ear. And you'll beat him, not because you need to prove you're better, but because you need to remind yourself that you still belong where you are, at the top. A moment of clarity. The silence that followed was almost sacred. Seth looked down at his hands, then at Becky, the one person who had always believed in him even when the world didn't. He finally exhaled, a deep, releasing breath. You know, he said with a faint smile. You always know what to say. Becky chuckled softly, her voice still shaking. Someone has to remind you that you're a damn legend. He stood up, pulling her into a hug. The tension that had filled the room seemed to dissolve in that moment. I don't know what I did to deserve you, he whispered. You earned me, Becky replied, smiling through her tears. Just like you've earned every ounce of respect that crowd will give you tomorrow. The calm, before the fight. As the night wore on, Seth began to prepare, not just physically but mentally. The weight that had been sitting on his shoulders felt a little lighter. Becky stayed by his side, watching as the familiar fire returned to his eyes. He slipped on his signature jacket, the one that shimmered under the arena lights, a symbol of the showman, the fighter, the champion. Before heading out, he turned back to Becky one last time. No matter what happens out there, he said, thank you. Becky nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. Go remind them who you are.